Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport for a very interesting news report that's come out in the last few days, and it's regarding Erasmus and his future at SA Rugby and how long he will actually be at SA Rugby, or will he make the switch and return to Ireland where he was actually before he came here. So very interesting articles come out, and it's an interesting to see the reaction both from a South African perspective as well as from Irish fans as well with regards to the job that he has been linked with. But before we go through what the story is, what the situation is, what the facts are, what the speculation is, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Right, so in terms of the situation at the moment, Erasmus is contracted to SA Rugby until 2025. And Rian Oberholzer, the CEO of SA Rugby, has confirmed that is still the case and that he is still committed to their contract. So that is not, he's not going to leave before then. Before the end of 2025. That is the current plan at the moment. However, what we do know is that Jacques Nienaber will be departing SA Rugby after the World Cup, and he'll be moving over to Ireland, and he'll be taking up a assistant coach role within the Leinster setup. Shows you how good Leinster is at building, those sort of structures and stuff. But so there's now been a lot of sort of speculation with regards to what will Erasmus do moving forward. Will he step back into his sort of role that he took in 2018-19 and become the new head coach or fulfill the head coach duties along with his current assistant, because Dion Davids, Wandile Stick, Don Human, as well as Andy Edwards, the head of athletic performance, they've all signed 4-year contract extensions. So they're sticking with the same sort of core structure. Now, the big sort of question with regards to the new coach is, will it be Erasmus stepping, I wouldn't say stepping back, but stepping into the role, or will it be looking to bring in somebody new? And a lot of people are saying, well, the fact that the systems have been renewed would suggest that Erasmus is going to move it back to that role, because you don't really want to bring in a head coach and then be like, cool, here's the head coach, but these are your assistants. You kind of want to be able to bring in your own people and stuff like that. But in terms of the story, though, is that apparently Ireland are looking at Erasmus to potentially become the Irish Rugby Football Union Performance Director, which is pretty much almost what he's sort of doing at the moment. Basically sort of he'll head up the Irish sort of rugby systems rather than, exactly the head coach, be sort of the man above that. And so basically what's happening with regards to that is that David Nukafora, who started last year, will be leaving his post within the next 2 years. And apparently the RFU have drawn up a short list of potential candidates, and Erasmus is one of them. Apparently one of the strong candidates, as well as former Ireland coach Joe Schmidt. So it's an interesting prospect. Now, what for me has been interesting about it is been the reaction. So a couple of Irish people have come out and said they don't really want it to happen. They don't really think he's the best man for the job. And a lot of South African fans have taken a bit of exception to that and sort of spoken about the fact that, well, he's a World Cup winning coach, why would you not want him? Personally, I'd quite like to keep him down here as long as possible. But it's an interesting concept because, first of all, Erasmus is a brilliant rugby mind. We know this. You'd be a fool to suggest he isn't. He's got a fantastic rugby mind. He really understands the game. He's an innovator. He's always been an innovator. From the traffic lights at the Free State Stadium, for example, he's always been a coach or a person that really likes to think outside the box. So there's no doubt that he would add value wherever he went. But what's interesting when you look at these sort of appointments is, if you're going to head up the entire sort of overarching system, you've got to understand the climate. You've got to understand the landscape, really, of where you are working with it. And, I think it was, I can't remember if it was Eddie Jones or could have been Warren Gatkin, spoke about the fact that, in order to be able to coach in South Africa, you need to understand South Africa. You need to understand the intricacies, you need to understand the history, you understand why the South African landscape is so unique, which is why, South Africa have very rarely sort of gone with international coaches, because you've got to have a core understanding of how our systems work, where the structural efficiencies and inefficiencies are, in order to be able to really sort of get the most out of what you've got. And I think that's probably kind of been the core of the reasoning that a couple of Irish fans are saying they prefer somebody like a Joe Schmidt, who's coached Ireland, been part of the systems, understands the systems a lot better than Erasmus, who might not understand the intricacies. It's an interesting concept. So look, Schmidt's not Irish, for example. is New Zealand born, but was in Ireland and coached Ireland for I think it's about 6 years. So he really sort of understands the landscape, and then maybe taking that step back and doing the whole sort of system rather than just the coaching would probably be quite good for him. So it's an interesting thing. Now, in terms of Rassie Erasmus, as I said, in theory he is there until 2025. I personally don't think that if he wanted the role, I think he could be able to walk away. I think he would be able to walk away in the next 2 years if he wants to take up that role. They did identify him as the best candidate, and they said, "Listen, we want you to do it." I think SRAB won't stand in his way. I think he would be able to walk away. I think that he is probably be open to the idea. I think he's someone that doesn't like to rest his laurels. I think he likes to move around. He does like to do new things and stuff like that. So I don't think he's going to be at SRAB for the next 10 years, for example. I think he'll do a good job. I think, as I said, he's a brilliant rugby mind. So, and I think he's someone that is such a meticulous planner and gets involved so much. I think he would get down to the core of exactly where the issues are, where the opportunities are quite quickly. So I have no doubt he'll be good at the job. It'll just be interesting to see if they do favor him for the job. But let me know what you think. Do you think that he's the right man to take Ireland rugby even further? It's difficult to say to take them over to the top because they're currently the number one side in the world. If they win the World Cup this year, then they are the best team in the world, and that won't even be up for debate. But do you think he would be the right person? Or do you think he should stay down here? Do you think he should take over the Springbok coach, or do you think he should be the one appointing the Springbok coach? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.